What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be showing you guys a possible exploit that you can take advantage of depending on what side of the map you are on. Okay, so let's talk about the blue side first. And by the way, before we head into the video, this is a laning phase guide. This is not a rotation guide. A rotation guide is going to be how your team is going to move around the map. Alright, that is a rotation guide. A laning phase guide is where your players are going to be at. So know the difference, because I had a lot of people commenting on my laning phase guide saying, oh, it's a new rotation. No, it is not a new rotation. Laning phase is different from rotation. Let's talk about the blue side first. Alright, this is not the exploit yet, by the way. This is not the exploit yet. It's just to show you guys why it's an exploit and to better explain it to you guys why it's more convenient. Okay, for the blue side, we have our marksman. Let's put double M for marksman, plus tank on the top side, or support. So you could actually have a support here with the marksman, and you could have like a tanky fighter or a tanky jungler depending on what your draft is gonna be. Alright, and by the way, this is gonna be disregarding invades. Alright, this is just laning phase, disregarding invades if the game started normally. Alright, normally. And the reason why you want a tank or support with your marksman is because the marksman cannot solo lane. They are easy to gank. If you're a marksman that is solo laning, professional and high elo teams will bully you, and that is like free food for them. You're really easy to gank. Right, so that's why you need that over there. The reason why the marksman is on the gold lane is because they need to itemize and get to late game a lot faster. The more gold you have, the more items you will get, the faster you get to late game. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? Now let's talk about the jungle, right? So the jungle, you either start at blue or red, okay, depending on what jungler you have. For example, Ling, Gusion, Karina, they need the blue buff, right? They need the blue buff, so they're gonna start over here. But for the red side, you have heroes like Tamus, who's really good with the red buff. You have heroes like Chu, who doesn't have mana. Alpha, who's not really mana heavy, so you could start with red if you would like, because freaking Alpha with red buff is actually pretty nuts. You should try it out. So you can start with red, depending on what hero you're using, okay? Why would I put the mage at mid, alright? So on my my previous post on my Facebook page, I put the mage at mid because it is very convenient. Alright, let me just erase this for now. Erase this for now because it's getting messy. We have the mage at mid because it is very convenient for you to get the blue buff. You're a lot closer to it. Your jungler only needs to get to level 4, okay, for you to take this blue buff. Sometimes your jungler doesn't even need the blue buff. That's why this mage can actually take it. Alright? Mage or assassin at mid. Mage or assassin. Really depends. Most assassins will go to the jungle anyways. Okay? So why not bot lane where the EXP lane is at? You might be asking. So let's say, for example, let's put the mage here on the blue side, right? Put the mage here. Look how far the blue buff is. The convenience and positioning is just so far. So far. So you don't want to put it, you don't want to put him there. It's just not convenient for you, alright? The positioning is just not convenient. So that's why you don't want to put your mage on the EXP lane if you're on the blue side. If you're on the blue side, okay? So now let's talk about the EXP lane on the blue side still. So for the EXP lane, you want to put your fighters and your tanks, alright? Your jungler could be tanky as well. For example, Gato jungle. I think it could work. Gato jungle, because you have red tree anyways. Your first skill does enough damage. You're obviously gonna have pretty slow wave clear, but it's still definitely possible. Okay. So fighter and tank here because they have the most sustain and they have high survivability when people gank them on this lane. So that's why you want your fighter and tanks on the for the blue side here. Okay, here. Now, let's talk about the red side. Okay, this is where the exploit is gonna come in. All right, or not exploit, but kind of disadvantage for the blue side. All right, this is gonna be a disadvantage. All right, disadvantage for the red side. Marksman plus tank is still at the gold lane here, right? Plus tank and slash support. And look how convenient it is for the marksman here to get the red buff after jungler gets level 4. It's very close, right? If you're on the blue side and you're a marksman and you want to take the red buff, look how far it is. You gotta go all the way here just to take the red buff. Now, if you're on the red side and you're at the EXP lane as a mage, we're talking about mages now, right? If you put your mage here at the EXP lane for the red side, you're still close to the blue buff, right? You're still close to the blue buff. But if you put your mage here for the blue side, you're very far off from the blue buff. The convenience of being on this side of the map is such a big advantage, alright, depending on how you want to distribute these buffs. For the red side, it is actually much better to put your mage here at bot lane instead of mid. Your mid should be like a fighter slash tank, as long as they have good wave clear. Fighter slash tank, okay? So they can sustain this mid lane. And then your mage should be here at bot lane if you're on the red side. If you're on the red side, okay? The reason is, these minions, right? These minions and these minions give the same gold output, alright? But these minions benefit from EXP, while these minions don't. These are regular minions that don't benefit extra gold or extra EXP. They're just normal lane minions. So that's why your mage is gonna have better, or is gonna have an advantage on the blue side mage here, alright? On the blue side mage here, you're gonna be higher level than the blue side mage here, because you're on the EXP lane, and plus you're close enough to the blue. Another thing to point out, if you have your mage here for the red side, you only need to worry about one direction of gank, or maybe two at most, alright? So the enemies could either gank here, enemies could go around to gank, so two directions, or shit, let's make it three. They could even gank here, or four, right here, right? I mean, depends if the towers are still up. Depends if the tower's still up. But overall, you have to worry about one direction, right? Not the band, not the band. You know what I mean. One direction, right? It's all right here. This is just this direction, this specific direction. If the mage is at mid, we know that mages are not as, you know, they don't have as much sustain as, you know, fighters and tanks. You have to worry about what? Right here. If you're trying to push this tower, you need to worry about a gank right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, even right here, let's say, if your tower is down, You see, so many directions. You have to worry about two directions if your mage is at mid. So I think it's a lot better to put your mage here. They're safer, I would say. They are safer. Obviously, you don't know if they're gonna do a 4-man gank. They're not necessary, but it's a lot harder to figure out where the enemy team is gonna come from if you're at mid, alright? Because you'll never know. If you don't have the vision, you'll never know where they're coming from. They're coming from this side or this side. So that is the advantage there for the red side. Now, after 8 waves of creeps, it's already late game and the Lord spawns, right? The Lord spawns at around 9 minutes. You don't need to be here anymore. Your mage could be at mid and you could help on the Lord and turtle. Since the EXP lane is close enough to the turtle side as well. So your mage could actually help secure the turtle early game. So for late game, you don't have to worry about the Lord, okay? So that is the one exploit that I thought of, alright? That is an advantage for the red side and not the blue side, okay? The convenience of positioning and the directions of where the ganks are gonna be coming from, okay? Is there, okay? Another thing that we want to point out is there's only one Little Wanderer, and it is actually random. I thought it only spawns in one place, which is next to the turtle. But it doesn't. It is actually random. Already tested this. Apparently it spawns here or here at 35 seconds. 35 seconds, alright? This is another convenience for the red side. 35 seconds. So this is all RNG. So if you're a jungler on the red side that starts on the blue, you could go straight to the Little Wanderer and secure it and not have, you know, if you're a jungler right here for the blue side, it's gonna be too far for you. It's gonna be too far for you to take this Little Wanderer, because this guy has already cleared blue and he's probably doing the Little Wanderer already. So you're not gonna be able to secure this if you're on the blue side, right? But if the Little Wanderer RNG spawns here on this side of the map, then you could take advantage of that. That's the only advantage that I could think of for the blue side, okay? It really depends, but most of the time, for some reason, the Little Wanderer will spawn here. Like, I feel like it's a higher chance that it spawns here for some reason. And yeah, that's another disadvantage for the blue side. So yeah, another rotation. Alright, so we're done with the first rotation. Let's talk about the next possible laning phase for you guys. Possible laning phase, okay? So this is what I thought of. It's gonna be a 1-3-1. Technically, alright? So for the side lanes, we have our offlaners, fighters or tanks. Doesn't really matter, fighters or tanks. as long as they have high sustain, because this is where most people are gonna gank. Fighters or tank. And then you have the jungle, right? Either here or here. Let's just consider the jungle towards mid lane. You're gonna have your mage here at mid, which is gonna be your support, because a lot of mages right now are being used as support, as you may from last patch, right? For example, Farsa, you have like Kagura, who wave clears mid just fine, right? So that's why you want your mage at mid. There's another rotation, right? And your tank, your other tank will be with the jungler. So there's gonna be two people in the jungle, helping, all right, helping. But your tank, he's gonna have roaming item, so that your funnel jungle will actually get all the EXP and the gold he needs from these jungle minions. And you guys are gonna be ganking together. So the mage will just wave clear the minions here. All you need to do is play it safe. Play it safe. They can't push you early game. They can't force to push this early game. It's really hard to dive you. And then your jungler plus tank will be going around the map, and this jungle will try to get to level 4, and they're gonna gank together. These guys are gonna gank together. Let's just put JT. These guys are gonna gank together around the map. So they're gonna be rotating, they're gonna be controlling the pace of the game. So that's how you want it to be, alright? That's how you want it to be if you want like a kind of 1-3-1 rotation. That's how you want to make your 1-3-1 rotation work. This mage, obviously after level 4, you can take your blue buff if need be. You don't need a marksman as long as you have a funnel that's late game, that has late game potential. So for this jungler, it doesn't necessarily need to have CC. So for example, right? Claude. You could do this with Claude, Retribution. The problem with this is you're gonna have Retribution except for Purify. The tank is gonna be there for you to crowd control and protect you. So that's why you don't need a jungler with crowd control if you're doing this setup. You could do late game Claude jungle, and then he's just gonna farm all around the map. He needs to get his Demon Hunter sword, and then as soon as he gets it, he doesn't even need Demon Hunter sword, because with red buff, Claude is still okay with ganking. As long as he gets level 4, he can gank around the map, right? Claude is probably not the best example for this setup, but it is a possibility that you could do. So you could go for that setup. Let's imagine it on the red side. It's pretty much the same setup. Put the mage at mid, the freaking fighter and tank here at the off lane, and then you have the jungler, which is the funnel, plus the tank. I think it's the same setup, alright? As long as your jungler gets everything. And plus, if you have 2 people in the jungle with the tank, right? You guys can even invade. Because for example, on the previous rotation I gave you guys, there's only one jungler. So he's very prone to invade unless the mage or the people here will help, alright? Unless they'll help the invade. But if you have J plus T, the jungle and tank, you can actually get the blue buff and then go invade to the red buff right away, because this jungle will most likely be alone when he rotates here, and he's not going to be able to secure it, right? It's going to be really hard to secure because it's a 2v1. It's either you end up getting the red buff and die, or you don't get the red buff and you live, pretty much. So this is the advantage of that, you know, that strategy right there. So you can do that 1-3-1, and tell me what you guys think about that. All right, so that is a possibility as well for our laning. Okay, you have the late game, you have the sustain, you also have a setup depending on what tank you have that's following you. And plus, keep in mind that your tank needs to keep up with your jungler, right? Because some junglers will be really fast. For example, Ling. If you have a Ling jungle using the setup plus a Tigreal is going to be having a hard time keeping up with you. So you need to synchronize your gank. You need to gank together. Ling ganking alone without the CC, obviously it could work, but ganking with your tank will be, you know, putting it to its fullest potential. And plus, if you do the JNT, jungle plus tank setup, when the turtle is up early game, you guys are gonna have an advantage at the turtle because you have the numbers. This offlaner will most likely do a 2v1. All he needs to do is play it safe. They're not gonna be able to push you all the way here. You should just play it safe, clear the minions, you're good. Just try not to die if you're on this side. If you're a fighter right here, try not to fucking die. Alright, that's your job. Don't die, clear the minions, that's it. Try to keep this first tier tower alive as long as possible. If you have a jungle and tank, when people start going for the turtle, you have the mage right here, you have a fighter right here for the other setup, right? For the other setup. There's gonna be 4 people here. You have a jungle plus tank plus mage plus the fighter. That could contest for this turtle. It's a 4v3 compared to what you can do with the other setup. With the other setup, it was jungle, mid, fighter, which is only a total of 3 people. Why do I say 2? I need to go back to school. Because the marksman plus tank are up here. They're not gonna rotate all the way here. It takes too long. Too far, bro. Too far. Alright? So your jungle, most likely your jungle will go. Your mid, mage will go. and your fighter will try to help. Alright, if you have the first setup I showed you, but with the second setup, you actually have an advantage on the turtle because you have the numbers. You're working with the numbers. So that is another possible rotation that you guys could do. So yeah, I think that is it for now. To be honest, there's a lot more that I want to share, but I feel like I should stay quiet for now, okay? This is just a glimpse of what I could show you guys for now, okay? So don't forget to subscribe if you guys want to wait for some more tactics, strategies that I could think of. That is it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to slap the like button, and I am out. Peace!